Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be unboxing a whole bunch of HO scale locomotives that I picked up on eBay. Basically, a few months ago, I was browsing eBay and I found this lot, and I was quite interested in it because there are a few engines in here which looked pretty nice. I have no idea if any of these are in decent shape or not, but we'll find out soon enough, and we'll see how I did. There could be gold, could also be a bunch of junk. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, let's get this thing open. Alright, so I'm going to open up each one of these individually. We're going to start off with the Santa Fe F unit. I believe this might be an Athearn ready to roll. I'm not 100% sure, but by the looks of it, this is a fairly high quality locomotive, and it looks to be in terrific shape. As I said, I have no idea if this engine runs or not, but either way, finding, what looks to be a high-end locomotive on eBay, that's quite nice. I have to find out more about that, but it's got a lot of weight to it, so that is terrific. And then here is one of the main reasons right off the bat why I wanted to buy this lot, and I don't know, maybe you can already see what it is, but it's actually a somewhat famous locomotive. Or famous kind of locomotive, I should say. And it is, of course, a Bachmann Spectrum Acela Express. Now, this appears to be in pretty rough condition. It is missing the front, but it is a powered model. And, well, there's the front right there, so I guess we can clip that back into place. Now, I quite infamously launched one of these off my layout a while back, and that engine actually still runs, but I figured, you know what, we'll just see if we can get another one going, and then I'll have two of them if the other breaks down. I don't know if this one works either, but at least we've got some spare parts if that's the case. There's the pantograph, so we can probably get that back on too. I wonder if this thing got slightly damaged during the shipping. Anyways, on to the next locomotives. We'll open this one up. I'm pretty sure it's just a regular Athearn blue box locomotive, but it did look pretty nice nonetheless. And there it is, an Athearn blue box. I think it's an FP45. It looks to be in okay condition. There's a bit of damage to the paint right there. The horns are bent in. Yeah, it's certainly not perfect, but I've mentioned this a million times before. The old blue boxes are some of the most reliable locomotives out there, so I'd be very surprised if this one doesn't run, or if it doesn't run, it should be quite easy to fix. It looks like it is missing some parts here, though, so we'll have to check the box. Hopefully that's in there. But yeah, overall, not a bad locomotive. And I believe this right here is another Bachmann locomotive. It might be identical to one I already own. I think it's a Bachmann Spectrum. And there it is. I think it might be a -9. I'm not 100% sure. It's certainly not in perfect shape. There is a lot of damage to the handrails and everything else. But overall, it's not a bad looking locomotive. Drive looks really bad, actually. That is so weird. What the heck is going on there? It looks like something corroded right through the plastic, and the wheels are all rusted out too. Huh. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. The front truck is perfect. It looks fine. I mean, there's a scratch, but what the heck? Okay, so I didn't notice that when I bought it. It's strange. The rest of it, other than the handrails, looks to be in pretty good shape, but something clearly went very wrong with this locomotive. So, not so sure if that one's going to run or not, but we'll test all of these and find out. And then finally, there is one more locomotive in here, and this is the main reason that I bought this lot. Can you tell what it is already? I'm so excited to see how this thing looks. Again, these are all parts locomotives basically, so my expectations are low, but if it's in decent shape, I could be in for quite a treat. Anyways, let's get this thing out. And there it is, a 4884 big boy locomotive. And if I'm not mistaken, this one is an Athearn. It says it's a Rivarossi. Huh, that's very interesting. I have not seen a Rivarossi like this. It's got a completely different drive from what I've seen. But yeah, it looks like a very high-end locomotive. The detail's terrific. This one's pretty damaged. There is the front cap for the boiler, so we'll have to find that in the package. But this was basically the main reason that I bought this lot. It just looked like a really nice locomotive, and it's definitely modern. I wouldn't be surprised if this was made in the last 20 or so years. So yeah, that is all the locomotives I bought in this lot. Now the question is, do any of these actually run or not? Because there's a few in here which look pretty good, but there's ones like this which, I don't know, we'll have to find out. Let's take them over to the track and see. All right, well, I've got all the locomotives all set up to be tested here. If I were to take a guess as to what's gonna run, I would probably bet on these three, but I've been wrong before, and maybe if we're lucky, these two will surprise us. Who knows? But to start off, I think we'll begin with the Athearn Blue Box. As I've said, these things are very reliable, so I think that this thing has got a very good chance of starting. We'll get it all set up on the track here and give it some power. And, oh, I saw a little flicker of the light. It runs. Runs pretty darn well, as a matter of fact. The current draw is super low. That's nice to see. All right, well, we are off to a good start. That thing really didn't take much negotiating with to get going again. Now we'll move on to the Acela. I think that this one is gonna start, but it might be a little bit rough. It's clearly been dropped or something. Anyways, let's try setting it up here and giving it power. It's gonna be interesting to see. And well, it's trying to go. I don't see any short circuits, but it seems to be struggling to pick up power. Let's give it full voltage, 18 volts. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, yeah. This one's got lots of life in it. So it possibly has some sort of a wiring issue. You know, not starting like that is weird, and the headlights don't seem to be working, so there's clearly some stuff off with it, but that's not too bad. It fired right up after a couple tries, so I'll call that a success. I think this one is going to start. It is probably in the best condition of the bunch. I don't really see any reason why it shouldn't, unless there's something we don't know about inside, like a broken wire. Well, let's give it a chance here. No problems. As a matter of fact, that runs great. Super quiet. The current draw is like nothing. It almost doesn't read. Well, I am thoroughly impressed with that. It runs terrific. So that's really good. So the three I've guessed so far have been right. Now on to the two more questionable ones. Now this one, if it does start, is gonna, you know, I'm not gonna force it to run because I don't even think it's gonna turn over. But we'll see. I don't know. This is like a real science experiment. Whatever caused this, like if anybody has any theories, put them down in the comments. It almost looks like somebody like tried to lubricate the drive with battery acid or something. It's really weird. This one might be the worst of the bunch. Let's give it a chance. Oh, well, that's surprising. It moved a bit. Let's just get that. See, somebody tried to like glue this back on. I'm just gonna remove that. All right, let's try it out here. Well, there's no short circuits. Well, I'll be darned. I have no idea how that thing is running with a gearbox like that, and it's running well too. It's fairly quiet. Current draw is in check. You know, I generally don't find Bachmann locomotives and Bachmann Spectrum locomotives to be of the highest quality, but I've got to say in this particular case, I'm actually quite impressed. A locomotive which has clearly had a lot of damage done to it somehow runs. There's a miracle inside this thing or something. I don't know. It's really weird. And now, the most mysterious of them all, the Rivarossi Big Boy. Now, I find Rivarossi engines generally are, they're made with good quality parts, but I don't usually work with the modern ones, and I think that this one would have actually been made by Hornby, if I'm not mistaken, because I think Rivarossi became part of Hornby in 2004, so it's not really of the same era as all my other ones. But anyways, let's try giving it some power here. And it fires right up. There's something a little weird going on with that back wheel, yeah. That's not good. It'll lock up. Yeah, there's something definitely off about it. Like it's not sitting correctly on the track. And it's not derailed. But as it goes into the curve, it's like the wheels start lifting up. So I don't know what's going on there, but that's really odd. So there's clearly something mechanically wrong with it, but electrically, it seems to be almost completely solid. It's even got a working light on the front. So that's absolutely terrific. We have, well, every single one turned out to be a runner. I am quite surprised. Well, folks, I think that's going to be about it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm absolutely thrilled with this lot of locomotives. I can't believe they all turned out to be runners like that right out of the box. I've had many years experience buying things off of eBay, many different lots of model trains, and I can tell you that you don't really know what you're getting until you actually have it in hand and can test it out for yourselves, because sometimes you find a lot of something and you look at the pictures and everything looks okay, and then you get it and it turns out to be a lot of junk. So for all of these to start right away means that I made off quite lucky with this lot. It's not to say that these aren't going to need any repairs at all. You know, as you saw, there's a lot of cosmetic damage on all of these locomotives, and as I look over them more, I just keep finding more little things which are going to need repairs. But since we have a lot of the parts, a little bottle of CA will go a long way to fixing up these engines cosmetically. As for the mechanics of these engines, I think these four are probably okay, but I am a bit concerned about this one just because a lot of what it's doing on the track is not something I've ever seen before. And the fact, it's not sitting evenly on the track is quite concerning. I haven't worked on a lot of locomotives of this era before, and I can tell you that modern locomotives are a whole other ballgame with the little experience I have had. So I think this one is probably destined for a rebuild, but that is going to be an adventure for an engine this big. Even as an HS scale model, these are very complicated locomotives with a lot of different moving parts and a lot of different things that can go wrong. And just judging by the way, it's even sitting right now, I think that this had to have been dropped pretty bad at some point. So if we're going to be able to save it or not, I don't really know, but we'll give it a chance. Stay tuned for that. But as for all the other engines, I'm feeling pretty good about the condition. I mean, they all basically ran, and with a little bit of cleaning and oiling, I think things can only get better, especially for engines like this one, which are in extremely rough condition. And the bottom line is, too, I paid $160 for this lot, so if you divide that up, that's $32 an engine. So for one like this, that's kind of high, but for the rest of them, I think that that's a pretty good value for your money, even for a parts big boy. So overall, was this lot a good purchase? I think it was, and I can't wait to get working on them all. It's going to be a little different working on modern engines, but we'll shake it up a bit and we'll try something new, so stay tuned for all of that. But until then, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching.